making a keyhole fall scarf, and look at the colors, how pretty they are. This is called Landscapes from Lion brand, and it says it's a number 4, but I think it's a little bit thicker. I guess that's why they're calling for a number 10 knitting needles, which is a 6 millimeter. So okay, let's do that. And we want to cast on 5 stitches. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we want to knit 2 rows with the 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another row. This is the second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we want to knit 2 stitches, and then that one in the middle we want to knit from the front and pick up the back of that stitch and knit that stitch through the back also. So that now we have 6. Now row number 4, we're going to knit the 6 stitches. Okay, now we're going to start with the yarn over rows, and we are going to knit 2 stitches and then bring your yarn to the front so as to make a yarn over. But the stitches in the middle, you're going to be making a seed stitch. So the stitches are going to be alternated, the knits and the purls. So once you do your yarn over, you're going to start knit and purl, and then the last 2 you knit. Next row, you are going to knit 2, and since this stitch needs to be purled, therefore we need to bring the yarn to the front to purl, but we need to make a yarn over also. So we go around the needle and then we purl and knit, and then the last 3 we knit. We knit the yarn over and the last 2, the yarn over from the row before. So let's do that again. We're going to knit 2, yarn over. Let's see what's next. That is a purl, that is a knit, and that is a purl. Therefore we need to do the same thing. Bring the yarn to the front as if to purl, and then go around your needle again to make the yarn over. And now we purl, knit, purl, and the last 3 we knit. That's the yarn over from the row before, and we knit the last 2. 1, 2, 3. So those 3 last ones we knit. Let's do that again. We knit 2, yarn over, and let's see, that is a knit, a purl, a knit. Therefore we only bring the yarn to the front to yarn over, and then we knit, purl, knit, purl, and the last 3 stitches we knit. Don't concern yourself too much on following the video, because I'm going to give you a cheat sheet on signaling each row, so like that you can have it in front of you and you can go row by row with a ruler, so like that you don't get lost. So don't worry too much about it. So you're going to knit 2, yarn over, and let's see what follows. That's a knit, a purl, that's a knit. Therefore I only bring my yarn to the front to yarn over, and then I keep knitting. No, whoops. So I knit and then purl and then knit and purl. Very easy to get distracted. Knit, and then the last 3 we knit. Okay, next row, let's do 2 more, and like that we're sure that we got it. So knit 2, and let's see what follows. That should be a purl, a knit, and a purl. So if this is a purl, we bring the yarn to the front as to purl, and then around the needle again to do the yarn over. And so purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and then the last 3 we knit. 1 more, knit 2, yarn over. Let's see what follows. That's a purl, and knit, that's a purl. So we bring the yarn to the front, yarn over, and purl, knit, purl, and like that. And the middle stitches are all in seat stitch, and the side stitches or garter. See the last ones, the last 3, you're going to knit 1, 2, 3. And so like that you have the beginning. See how you have your yarn overs, and you're going to keep adding stitches following your cheat sheet until you have 26 stitches. Once you have the 26 stitches, we're going to keep adding, but not as fast, for a couple of stitches, and then we're going to go straight so that we have a little space before we do the keyhole. And making the keyhole is a lot of fun. You're going to like this. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I have my 26 stitches on my needle, and now I want to do 2 rows without adding stitches, but I still want to have my yarn overs. So in order to do that, I am going to knit 2 stitches, yarn over, and now I want to purl 2 together, because the next one here, this one here, is a purl. So I want to purl 2 together, so like that I don't add stitches. If I add and then take off, nothing happens. So now I knit and purl and knit, and then I'll go all the way to the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to add only after these 2 rows, and then 2 rows not adding, and then 2 rows adding, and until I have 30 stitches, and then I'll just keep going straight for a little while. So don't worry about, you know, seeing what I do too much on the video, because I'm going to have the cheat sheet. So knit and then knit the last 3. Now the next row you're going to knit 2, yarn over, and then knit these 2 stitches together. So like that, we don't add, but we still have the yarn over, and purl, and then we're going to add on the next 2 rows. Now this is a lot of fun to make, because you know it keeps your mind busy. Attention to what you're doing. And then the changes of colors is a lot of fun when you have yarn like this. And it's a nice gift. It's easy to make and it's fast, and you can make gifts like this. Okay, so I'm almost at the end, and I knit the last 3, and I still have my 26 because I didn't add any stitches on those 2 rows. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. Okay, so now I add, and I do the same thing as what I was doing. I knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, purl 1, and I go all the way to the other side. So this is also nice for little girls. I like it for my mother used to make these keyhole scarves, because like that we wouldn't lose them. You know, it goes one side inside the other. And they're kind of charming. They're very French looking. Okay. And there are very different styles. You can go on Pinterest and find different styles. So you knit the last 3, and then on the next row you are going to knit 2, yarn over, and the next one is a purl, therefore I need to go around my needle again, purl, knit, and then you repeat these 2 rows. But of course, you know, you're going to have your cheat sheet, so I can tell you what stitches next. But to give you an idea of the 2 rows, so that means 2 rows you do not add stitches, and 2 rows you do add, the same as at the beginning. So once I finish the next 4 rows, then I'll come back and show you just how to keep going straight for a while. Okay, so now I have my 30 stitches, and I am going to keep working for as much as I want before the keyhole, and I will keep doing the same. So knit 2, yarn over, and then I'll see what's next. I need to do my other yarn over so as to purl 2 together, and then knit and purl, and keep doing that until you have the height that you want before the keyhole, and I'll be right back. Now I have 9 inches from the start. You can do it longer or shorter, whatever you wish. But now I'm going to separate my stitches into 2 needles because I want to have the keyhole right there. So I am going to use 2 thinner needles just because it's easier. Okay, so I am going to put one in the front and 1 needle, whoops, and 1 in the back. 1 in the front and a stitch in the back. A stitch in the front and a stitch in the back. So you alternate them like that all the way. And I'm going to be having 15 stitches in the front, 15 stitches in the back. There we go. And we do the whole thing. So once we have the stitches into the 2 needles, you can either leave a section of the one section of the stitches on the needle or put them on a stitch holder, whatever you wish. So I have half of the stitches on one needle and half of the stitches on the other, and they are alternated, see? So let's start doing the ribbing for this part. So now I'm going to transfer my stitches to my knitting needle, just one section. The other section is going to stay there because the yarn is here, so that's why. So let's go and do this, and then we're going to start a knit 1, purl 1 ribbing. Okay, so now I'm going to start with knit 1 and purl 1, and we're going to have the ribbing in both sides. So knit, purl, let's get all that stitch up there. And knit, purl, and on ribbing you knit the knits and purl the purls. And you do that on both sides. After you have the height you want for this side, you go and pick up the stitches on the other side and do the same thing on the other side. I know it's a little bit awkward, but once you get going a few rows, it's going to feel okay. And like that, since you have 15, you're going to start with a knit and end with a knit. And that would be the outer side of your, so see, you have a knit here and a knit here. And you're going to do ribbing on this side for a little while and then pick up the stitches. Leave that on a holder or on a needle, pick up the stitches on the other side and knit the other side, but I'll knit this side and then come back and show you how to do the other. I knitted 14 rows of that first section of the keyhole, and I placed the stitches on another needle, so that, or a stitch holder, whatever you wish. And now the other stitches on the other side I put on my needle, and I'm going to start working knit and purl on this side also. I matched the yarn as best as I could, so that they look as much as similar as possible as the other side. So knit and purl, knit and purl, and do 14 rows of knit and purl on this side also. And I'll see you when I finish the 14 rows here. So now I have the two parts of the keyhole, and I have the 14 rows on each side, and now I want to close it. So I am going to put these two needles close to each other, and I am going to knit the stitch in the front and purl a stitch in the back. So again, we knit a stitch in the front and purl a stitch in the back, knit in the front, purl in the back, and we do our 30 stitches like this, and we end up having the seat stitch again, but we're not going to have any yarn overs on the rest of the scarf. So knit and purl, knit and purl, and I will do this the whole way so you see what it looks like. This is going to be very pretty. So there we go. This yarn opens a little, so I need to be aware of that. So purl, knit, purl, and we're almost done. There we go. That's the knit and purl the back. Okay, so now I have my 30 stitches on the needle, and it looks very nice. And now I'm going to continue with knit, purl, knit, purl. So you start with a knit and with a knit, and we're going to keep with the seat stitch, the same as here. So I will see you when I have a little bit more done. Okay, so that's the beginning, and that's the keyhole right there. And after the keyhole, I worked on seat stitch, the 30 stitches, and I did 18 inches. And now we're going to do ribbing on top of that. And of course measure around your neck so that it can go around nicely. And now we're going to go and do knit 2 together and purl 2 together. Knit 2 together and purl 2 together. So like that you have the same amount as the keyhole, and this is the part that is going to go through it. So knit 2 together and purl 2 together. And then you're going to continue on that ribbing. And it doesn't have to be much, it just needs to be this amount of distance because it needs to go through that part there. So let's continue with this. Knit 2 together, purl 2 together, knit 2 together and purl 2 together, and then you do your ribbing, and when you have that amount you start with the other section that is going to look like this also. So knit 2 together. So you start with a knit, and with a knit on the other side you start with a purl and end with a purl. So I'll see you when I have that amount ready. So I did 10 rows of the ribbing, and that's about a little bit more than 2 inches, and which is the same as if it would go through here, through the keyhole. So what I want to do now is that I want to go back to the 30 stitches. So therefore, on each one of these, I am going to knit without taking that stitch off. Bring your yarn to the front and purl that same stitch. So let's do that again. On that stitch we knit, bring the yarn to the front and purl. Again, you knit, bring the yarn to the front and purl, and do that the whole row, and we do not do any yarn overs until the next row. So knit and purl, and I'll see you when I finish this row. Went ahead and did a few rows so you see how that looks, but this next row that I am going to be making is the same as the first row you do after your ribbing. So you are going to knit 2, yarn over, knit these 2 stitches together, and then continue with purl, knit, purl, knit the whole row, and I'll see you at the end of this row. Okay, I'm at the end of this row, and I'm going to, I did knit, and now I am going to purl, and the last 3 you knit. Just to remind you how these rows are done. Okay, so now on the way back you are going to knit 2, yarn over, and then the yarn over has to be done around your needle again because the next one is a purl, and then knit and purl. And you do these 2 rows until you have 25 rows in total. You need to have 25 rows from there to when you start taking off for this part here. Once you have 25 rows of knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, and work to the end of the row, and then the next row knit 2, yarn over, purl 2 together, and come back to the rest of the row. Now it's time to take off for this part here, right there. So what you want to do is you need to take off 2 stitches, one to replace the yarn over and another to actually take off. So now what you want to do is knit 1, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, and now let's see which one is the next, is knit 2 stitches together. So you see we took off 1 stitch here to replace the yarn over and 2 stitches together here to actually take off for the corner. And I'll see you at the end of this row. So I'm at the end of this row, so I knit and knit the last 3. And now next row it's going to be knit 1, knit these 2 stitches together, yarn over, but since the next one is a purl, we go around the needle again and we purl these 2 together. And now we continue with the knitting until the end of the row. So of course this you do only at the beginning of each row. So you continue and repeat these 2 stitches, and I'll see you when it's almost done, when we are at the tip like there, so I can tell you what to do. So I have 8 stitches left, 2, 4, 6, 8, and what I want to do is knit 1, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over twice because the next one is a purl, and then I am going to knit the last 3. Now I have 7. Okay, now next row I am going to knit 1, knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, and now I don't have any more knit 2 togethers because I don't have enough stitches left, so I'm going to knit 2 together, that yarn over with that stitch there, and now I'm going to have 5 stitches left. 2, 4, no, 6 stitches left. Okay, so now we want to have only 5, so we're going to knit 1, knit 2 stitches together, and knit to the end of the row. Now we need to knit those 5, but in order to have that a little bit rounded, pass that first stitch without knitting. so like that it doesn't look square. And then knit the next one, knit the next stitches all the way to the end of the row. And now we're going to bind off. We're going to let that first stitch off without knitting, and then knit the next one, bind off, knit the next one, bind off, the next one, bind off, and the next one, and bind off. And like that you have a nice rounded corner there. So, and then of course we cut our yarn and pass it through. Let's do that with this. And then you weave your ends, weave the ends, and I will have a row by row cheat sheet online, so don't worry about having, don't worry about it. I'll have everything online. And thank you very much for watching. Please share us with your friends and like our page and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.